All right. So, uh, are you ready to jump into this whole RedNote thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
I feel like everybody's been talking about it, and for good reason too.
Yeah.
It's it's a Chinese-owned app, and
Yeah.
obviously it has some implications.
Right.
But and everyone's saying like, oh, is this going to be the next TikTok? Is this going to
Right.
take over? Especially if TikTok gets banned in like the U.S. and places like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's a really timely question.
Absolutely.
So let's kind of like really dive deep into RedNote and all this stuff surrounding it.
I think that's a great idea. And you know what I think is really interesting is the
Yeah.
timing of RedNote's rise to success. Like you said, it's interesting given the potential TikTok bans
Right.
in Western countries. But it's not just about that, it seems like. They're
Yeah.
kind of going after a different market than TikTok. TikTok is like very much about, short form videos and
Yeah, like dance trends and
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Dance trends and things like that.
right.
RedNote seems to be more focused on like fashion, lifestyle, shopping, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're also pushing hard in countries where TikTok hasn't really fully taken off yet.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've definitely seen I feel like almost every day
Yeah.
I see a new influencer or a new brand like jumping over to RedNote.
Exactly. And they've done a really good job at integrating that shopping experience.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
It's so seamless. You can just, you're watching a video, you see something, you're like, boom, you can buy it right there.
Yeah, you can buy like clothes,
Yeah.
makeup, kitchen stuff,
Yeah.
home decor. It's like
Yeah.
it's almost like too easy in a way.
Yeah. It's incredibly convenient, but, it does make you think a little bit.
It's a little unsettling, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How easy it is.
That convenience definitely comes at a price.
Yeah.
And the price is data. Think about all the information that RedNote is collecting with every click, every purchase, every
Oh gosh, yeah.
even just how long you watch a video.
Right.
It all paints this really detailed picture of you,
Right.
your habits, your preferences. We know that Facebook and Instagram and all those platforms already collect this kind of information.
Yeah.
But what RedNote's doing with this, direct link to e-commerce takes it to a whole new level.
Right.
Because they're able to track, your spending habits, what brands you like, sizes you buy, and, even your financial information if you're using their payment system.
Wow. I actually hadn't even considered that aspect of it. Like
Right.
if you're using their payment system,
Right.
that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like what, besides just like, getting targeted ads,
Yeah.
what else could they potentially use this data for?
Well, I mean, you can think about it. They could push, specific products or trends on you based on your past purchases.
Right. Maybe even create a sense of urgency or scarcity to encourage like impulse buys. And they could also use, really sophisticated algorithms to show you content that just keeps you scrolling and buying.
Right.
So essentially like engineering a digital shopping addiction.
That's kind of scary.
It is, yeah.
And then there's the,
Yeah.
the other layer of all this is that, people are talking about like these hidden agendas.
Right.
Like, oh, is RedNote, actually connected to the Chinese government? Are they, working with corporations that have like ulterior motives?
It's important to remember that, we haven't seen any concrete evidence
Yeah.
of RedNote, engaging in any kind of like unethical data practices,
Yeah.
or anything beyond what's typical for a social media platform.
Right.
However, concerns about Chinese companies and data security, they're not entirely unfounded.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, remember the whole controversy around Huawei and, those accusations about them sharing data with the Chinese government?
Yeah.
That created a lot of mistrust, and it's still kind of lingering.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So, yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind.
So like even if we, entertain the most like skeptical viewpoint on all of this,
Yeah.
what are the real like risks here? Like what could actually happen
Right.
if RedNote becomes like the dominant
Yeah.
social media shopping platform globally?
I mean, the potential for data breaches is a major concern with any platform that collects this much information.
Right.
But with RedNote, there are these, additional geopolitical layers that we have to consider.
Right.
Imagine a scenario where tensions between China and other countries escalate. Could the Chinese government pressure RedNote to hand over user data? Could they use the platform for propaganda or to try to influence public opinion in other countries?
Well,
I mean, these are all hypothetical scenarios,
Right.
but, they're questions that governments and security experts are starting to really grapple with.
yeah, I mean, it's a lot to think about. It's kind of overwhelming, honestly.
Yeah.
So like for the average person,
Right.
someone like me or someone listening, like,
Yeah.
what can we actually do? I mean, like, should we just avoid these platforms altogether?
Yeah, it's tough because social media and online shopping are so ingrained in our lives now.
Right.
I mean, it's how we connect with people. It's how we, stay up to date on things.
Yeah, it's how we buy things. It's how we're...
Exactly. It's how we buy things. So,
Yeah.
it's not realistic to say just avoid it completely.
Yeah.
I think the key is awareness, you know?
Hmm.
Be aware of the trade-offs that you're making. Understand what information you're sharing.
Yeah.
Read the privacy policies, even though they're super long and boring.
Okay.
And maybe consider, diversifying your online activity a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket, as they say.
Right. Yeah. Spread it around.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point. I like that.
Yeah.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I feel like what's the big takeaway here? This whole RedNote situation.
Yeah.
It feels like it's almost like a microcosm of the larger digital landscape that we're all dealing with right now.
I think that's a great point. It really highlights this tension between convenience and privacy.
Right.
And, the increasing power of these tech companies and how these lines between social media and commerce and even geopolitics are just becoming more and more blurred.
Right. It's crazy.
It is.
So here's something I think for everyone to kind of think about as we go forward.
Okay.
As these platforms become more and more integrated into our lives, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
They're just going to become more powerful.
Right.
How do we strike a balance between, enjoying the benefits of this technology, the convenience, the connection,
Yeah.
all of that, but also safeguarding our data and our privacy?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and there's no easy answers.
No easy answers, but it's something that, we need to keep talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Hey.
Thanks for listening,
Thank you for having me.
and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.